Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. Hope everyone had a fantastic Valentine's Day weekend. And once again, we are back here on Empire State Hoops. This is Season 3, Episode 10. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild. And alongside me, that is my co-host, Marquise Frias. Once again here on the show. And the plan today, with All-Star Weekend out of the way, thank the Lord it is, honestly.
Yep.
The Knicks have several games coming up on the schedule. We'll talk about those later on in the episode. But to start things off, the All-Star Weekend. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But today's episode of Empire State Hoops is powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, now getting to All-Star Weekend and the point we were just about to mention. So, there was a lot of stuff that went on. Celebrity Game, Rising Stars Challenge, Skills Challenge, three-point contest, dunk contest, and the worst All-Star game I have absolutely ever seen in my entire life.
Yep.
So, let's start things off with the Skills Challenge.
Yeah.
I really think, when you saw the opponents at first, you knew this was going to be exciting. The Skills Challenge is always, like we talked about it last week, it's always an intriguing event to see who wins pretty much.
Yeah.
And I believe if you listen back from my prediction, I believe I had Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama winning this.
I honestly don't know who I picked. I'm pretty sure one of us said those two, though. And it's kind of interesting how they kind of fell to their demise, if you want to explain that for the people.
Yes, I will explain that for the people. So, when you're in a skills challenge, when you have to bounce the ball, yes, they did that correctly. But the thing about this challenge, of course, you have to have the fastest time. But they didn't care about the shooting. So, when it came to the three-point shot, when it came to the free throw, they just chucked the ball into the air like, just throw it into the crowd. Let it go wherever it wants to. I mean, that is really what went down with the Skills Challenge. And immediately after, yes, they had the fastest time, but an automatic DQ.
I can't say that is a very smart idea to do. That would certainly ponder in my head. Because, these guys actually, try to practice for these upcoming skills challenges. So, people in the dunk contest will obviously try new dunks that they haven't done before. People in the three-point contest will just do a shoot-around real quick. But the skills challenge is a bit harder to, prepare for in a way that you have to come up with it strategically more than just, repetitions and stuff. And that's what Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama did. And then you see what they did. And rightfully so, I do think that it was good that they disqualified them. It would have been crazy if they went on to win it after that round. But, yeah, it was definitely a weirder time. I don't think anybody's been disqualified from any type of skills challenge or anything in the All-Star Weekend.
I mean, my first reaction is confusion. You hear boos in the crowd, which rightfully so is deserved. Yeah. And I don't get it these days. The All-Star game, we talked about it coming up to this weekend. We were like, we don't know what to make of this weekend with the new tournament thing. Mm-hmm. And last year I was fine. East-West, I was totally fine with that, with the All-Star game, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But that was an interesting fact, of course.
I think it was also interesting to see when as soon as they got done with the round, the commentators and pretty much everybody knew that it was definitely the reason why this happened was because of Chris Paul. And Chris Paul is known to be that type of guy to really, I wouldn't say bend the rules, but he's I like to call him a goody two shoes of the league. And then you see him do that with the skills challenge. So that to me was just hilarious to see.
And there were people like Ali LaForce, for example, who's one of the sideline reporters for TNT. Kevin Harlan was trying to talk over it, and Ali was trying to get into where Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama were, but the security on the sideline was trying to show them the rules and everything, and they wouldn't let her talk to them.
Hilarious to see. It was great to see all that unfolding. I would give him that. But that was just honestly a hilarious event, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of just went from intense to comedic.
Yeah,
in no sense, I would say. So that was an interesting event, to say the least. Ended up in a nice NBA cheating scandal. Of course, we love that.
Yeah.
And now shifting our way to the three-point contest, which was actually probably when things started to get interesting. And I was actually enjoying watching this because of how it went down, how the shooting was.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly think that the past couple of the three-point contests have been where it's been close to one score, or in the last round and the last player to go up has a chance to win it. And then they either come up short or they win by one. It's something like that, and that's honestly what we saw here. And then we had Tyler Hero winning, and I believe the finalists were Buddy Hield and Darius Garland in there with him. Buddy Hield put up a terrific performance in that first round. I don't know if you've seen 31 points. Anything higher than, like, I believe, like 27, 28 is considered a pretty good performance in the three-point contest. So for him to put up 31 is actually insane. So I definitely think that, like, now the three-point contest has been kind of overshowing. This is going to be a hot take, but it's been overshowing the dunk contest. Like, in that, like, it's been more entertaining. Like, people have been more engaged with it compared to the dunk contest where it's kind of been going to its fall off.
Yeah, totally agreed for sure. And of course, our captain, Jalen Brunson, was in this contest as well. But just like last year, he fell short by 1 3-pointer.
It was disappointing to see just because, like, he got off to such a good start. Like, I'm pretty sure he only missed 1 in his first rack. And then from there, he kind of got progressively worse. But I mean, you can't give him too much hate. It's just a 3-point contest, but you would love to see some of your favorite players win it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, like, it's just like we had all-stars representing last year as well, along with Jalen Brunson as well. So that was a joy to watch. And I think the 3-point contest really showed that it can be competitive. We know, because that's the NBA these days. That's what we're seeing. So that's what we have to look forward to. But you shift things over to the dunk contest. We talked about the competitors last week. We had our prediction in the final.
Yeah.
Both of us were 100% correct.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it was going to be with Stephon Castle and the king himself, Mac McClung.
I mean,
this guy
sheesh.
is on another level. We need to go dunk by dunk, I think, for this. So
I honestly, I want to just chip in. I think he's honestly, like, transitioning from more of a basketball player to just a dunker. And, like, we've seen those guys that really just only dunk just to entertain. And I'm not talking about the league guys. Like, I'm talking about, like, professional dunkers. There's, like, professional dunkers. I think Mac McClung is transitioning from a basketball player to just a professional dunker with how insane he can just bounce off the ground and onto a 10-foot hoop. It's honestly insane.
And especially for his height, too. The amount of hops he has, I mean. And this year, like, going dunk by dunk, when you look at the first one, pulling out the car.
A car in the first round is insane. Like, I haven't seen that before.
Instant pressure.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's deserving so because you don't pull out a whole motor vehicle onto the court for your first dunk and, like, you better not disappoint with that. Like, you have to pull off something crazy, and to which he did.
It's normally, like Blake Griffin did this, for example, back in 2011. It's normally your last dunk, which he did that in the final when Baron Davis tossed the ball up to him, and he slammed it over the top. But this time, what I like what McClung did, he took the dunk and made it his own thing.
Yeah.
Because he went, instead of going from the top of the key, he went from the sideline and went around, reverse over the car, over the side of the car. He went over more of the car than Blake Griffin did.
Yeah, Blake Griffin went really, like, over the hood. Mac McClung jumped over the car, like, completely, and it was insane. He did. I would say it would be more. I would think it would be one of the greatest dunks of all time had he not clipped his leg and fell during the jump. But still, I mean, you can't really complain. That was just an amazing dunk for the first round. I'm not gonna get over that. The first round pulling out a car is insane.
And we just need to keep going with these dunks. I mean, the second dunk wasn't what I expected, but still, when you look at his face, when he goes up with the ball, his head is looking at the opposite side of the crowd. It's not even looking at the rim.
It's insane, just like what he was able to pull off that night. And I just think, like, I honestly, like, I'm just gonna keep saying, like, it's just honestly insane what he did. I also want to bring up Mac McClung in all three of his not 3-point contests, dunk contests. He's never not gotten a 50. So all of his dunks in all three, like, I don't know if that's computing, but, like, that's honestly insane to me. And I know we had this discussion right before we recorded, but I want to kind of bring it up. Mac McClung deserves to be in the GOAT conversation for dunk contest. He's up there with Vince Carter and Michael Jordan to me for sure.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with you on that. He's up there with the Levines, the Aaron Gordons of the world. Even Derrick Jones Jr. I'll put in that conversation.
For sure.
Because he had the famous tornado back in Chicago.
Oh, my God. Derrick Jones Jr., he was... I wanted to see him more in dunk contests just because, like, he's one of the most underrated dunkers I've seen in a while. So I definitely would say Derrick Jones is up there. But Mac McClung three-peating, like, you can't really... And then the fact that I just said no, not a single dunk lower than a 50, which is a perfect score. You can't disrespect that, honestly.
And getting back to that point now that we mentioned before with that second dunk he had when he was looking straight at the crowd, and then he turns toward the rim. I don't remember if it was a reverse or I think he just turned to the side and just threw it down.
It was so fast how he did it. I'm kind of remembering a little bit more now. he's literally looking at the crowd, and then almost literally at the last second, like speed of light, he turns around and dunks it on the rim. That was really impressive to me to see that. All of his dunks were impressive. I think that was one of the more impressive ones from all of his dunks.
Yeah, he makes it look so easy, like that second dunk, for example. But it's just going from there, and then you get to the third dunk. When you see two basketballs up there on the rim, yes, this is something that has been done before, but not in that style. The last player to do it, I believe, was JaVale McGee.
Yeah,
I forget when, but
I know what dunk you're talking about, where he was like pretty much like this with the two balls,
and it was two balls. I think
2 balls and 2 hoops
into 2 hoops, but this time 2 basketballs into 1 hoop.
Yeah,
this is even harder than you think.
I don't think we've seen it before, and when you haven't seen a dunk before in the dunk contest, especially with how I guess modern the dunk contest is turning, where we're kind of seeing the same thing over and over again. Impressive on all levels, so you can't really say anything more.
And the thing was, I was worried he wasn't going to get it on the first try for that second dunk.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to get both of them in. He gets it on the first try, I fall to the floor.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I was just watching on the couch as everyone does.
Yeah.
And I just fell to the floor. I like looked up. I'm like, Kenny Smith is saying, Vince Carter, you are being challenged for the greatest dunker in dunk history.
And I genuinely think that too. He's definitely, if we have to say a top 3 right now, I would put Vince Carter, Mac McClung, Michael Jordan. I'm putting Mac McClung over Michael Jordan, at least in dunk contest dunks. And
so that means you're putting Mac McClung over Zach LaVine, over Aaron Gordon, over Nate Robinson, over Dwight Howard.
Yes. Nate Robinson, I would say Nate Robinson is better than those guys you just named as well. I probably put him at my 4th spot, and then I'd put, I guess, Aaron Gordon at my 5th. But I'm going to say it again, 3-peat. No one has ever done that before. Nothing less than a 50 in all 3 years of being in the dunk contest. You can't argue with that. And the only reason why I'll put Vince Carter ahead of Mac McClung is because simply he revolutionized the dunk contest. He made it what it turned into today. He helped save it single-handedly. You can't disrespect Vince Carter. He's the GOAT for the dunk contest.
Absolutely, because he brought it back when it was at an all-time low out there in the late 90s and did it for a franchise that was only 4 years old at the time, because the Raptors were a franchise that started up in the late 90s.
That's when, I'm pretty sure that's when the Toronto Raptors really started to become more popular because of Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady, who was also in that dunk contest. You can't really say anything less about Vince Carter. All-time GOAT.
Yeah, and he got honored through all this too. He did the intros for every player, and it was very exciting to see that as well. But now we're going to cover the last dunk he did in the final rather. Now this one was, of course, it was against Stephon Castle, and it was similar to in 2020 when Pat Connaughton did the dunk. I think he dunked over a guy, tapped it against the backboard, and then slammed it. But this time, goes in front. The look on his eyes, the confidence he had, was insane. And then taps the ball on the front rim and then throws it down.
Once again, we have not seen something like that before. Anything we haven't seen in the history of the dunk contest automatically deserves a 50. I don't even care if he missed it. I don't even care if he didn't make it on all of his attempts. He deserved a 50 on that dunk. And I also credit Mac McClung, because we got to give credit with the hops and stuff, but also the creativity. Like, you're not seeing this every single day on the basketball court, not even every single year. Like, I have never seen this type of display of straight dunking by any type of player before. So you really got to appreciate what Mac McClung has done for the dunk contest in his only 3 years.
And he's also created tweets from John Morant and Giannis who are, maybe thinking about this, maybe getting the stars finally to get in the dunk contest, because this is going to make it exciting again. That's going to be the thing that's going to make it better.
And I just said how Vince Carter revolutionized the dunk contest. Mac McClung has the opportunity to do the same by pretty much motivating all these other guys to try to beat him. Because right now, I think he should do the dunk contest until he loses. And hopefully it's a star that he loses to. Like, I want to see John Morant beat Mac McClung. I want to see guys like Zion, guys like Aaron Gordon. So I genuinely think that what Mac McClung is doing right now is definitely good for the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that's holding players back, they're worried they're going to get hurt.
Yeah,
I really think so, because of how challenging it can be.
And we've seen that, we're going to talk about it in the next little segment, but we've seen that with LeBron. He was unable to play due to, I believe, a foot soreness, and then Anthony Edwards went down with the illness the night before the game. So it was pretty unfortunate to see that, but, you're not going to prioritize the All-Star game for the playoffs. Like, these players got playoffs on their head. They're really preparing for the next part of the season, which is the most important part. So you can't really blame those players for that.
And now getting to that point, now getting to Sunday of what the All-Star game was like. So what were your thoughts on how it went? And I know I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, here's my rating for the All-Star game. 0.0.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that is, to me, is understandable. I wouldn't go as far down as a 0. I would say there were some entertaining parts, but I mean, we're going to talk about it. Like, I don't really like the format just because it showed me that, like, there's not going to be enough basketball. Like, there's not going to enough basketball playing in that 3-hour broadcast. You told it to me off the camera, but it was 2 hours and 26 minutes. It was a 3-hour broadcast. 2 hours and 26 minutes of it was not the basketball game, was not on the players. It was mostly the commercials and the little segment breaks that they had during the broadcast. Only 26 minutes, or I believe 33 minutes, were the actual basketball game. That's honestly crazy to me. And I honestly noticed while watching it, and it's like, are we watching the All-Star game, or are we watching almost like an NBA charity event, and then the stars are playing? So it's very weird to me. I think this although it has some entertaining parts, I think you should just scrap it immediately and go back to the Elam ending. I love the Elam ending. I don't know why we abandoned it after 2024, which is when they did the East versus West, but I love the Elam ending. It's brought some of the best games, so I think that could be the only solution so far with this.
And once again, you heard it here first. There were 33 minutes of playing time in the All-Star game. It's absurd.
It's also honestly crazy because if you look at the stat sheet, a lot of the guys that were in their first All-Star game only got 5 minutes of playtime. With the shortness of this new format brings a shorter game and a shorter game style. So Cade Cunningham only gets 5 minutes in his All-Star debut. That's kind of unacceptable in my opinion. I think they should get the stars and the lights that they deserve.
And I believe Jalen Brunson in the All-Star game, I believe he only got 8 minutes as a starter.
Starting point guard, you work your butt off to get to that type of stage and that type of, recognition from your peers, and you only get 8 minutes. I'm not messing with that either. So
it's a national embarrassment. I get it. TNT is trying to make it look good, but it's a national embarrassment. And I think Adam Silver right now has a lot of pressure on him to really figure this out. And the first thing I'm already hearing about, one-on-one tournament. Like, I don't – there's a lot of opinions that can work with this. A lot of people can say good things, can say bad things about this, but I don't know what to make of it.
I think it would just have to depend on it's going to be weird with the one-on-one tournament because it depends on who you put in that tournament. So – you would obviously want some of the more exciting players. Like, I wouldn't want to see Alperen Sengun versus a Nikola Jokic 1v1 game. I would want to see Kyrie Irving versus Victor Wembanyama or something, which is actually what we did see when Kyrie Irving kind of ISO'd him up during the last game. But I don't know how I feel about a 1v1 tournament just because it doesn't really bring everybody together, and it's not as eye-opening as just a regular basketball game. So I'm not sure about a 1v1 tournament, honestly.
And we'll figure this all out. We'll talk about it a lot more next year once All-Star Weekend comes around in 2026, which I believe next year it is in Los Angeles at the new Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that when we get to that next year. But coming up after the break, there's 28 games left in the season, folks. And the New York Knicks, it's time to push to the playoffs. So now, starting off after the break, Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Boston Celtics coming up later this week for you guys. So we're going to preview all of that right after the break here on Season 3, Episode 10 of Empire State Hoops. We'll be right back.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this, it's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball, it's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back here once again, Season 3, Episode 10 of Empire State Hoops. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me, that is my co-host, Marquise Frias, here alongside me once again here today. And for the first half of the episode, All-Star Weekend, we closed it out, talked about how embarrassing it was, and all of that fun stuff. But now, we got 28 games left in the regular season, so it feels weird saying that, like that we're 50 games in. We got like just about 30 to go. The first 3 out of the break are pretty interesting for the New York Knicks. One team that's pretty much, I would say, in a rebuild. The other 2 are top teams in the Eastern Conference that are sitting right above us at 1 and 2. Yep. So we're going to start things off at Madison Square Garden on Thursday. The Chicago Bulls, a rebuild team that has moved on from Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. I feel like this should be, a straightforward win after the All-Star break. I think, the team will begin to gel. And, of course, we'll talk about Mitchell Robinson after this game a little bit because he's going to have an impact later in the month once he returns.
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. It should be an easy win for the guys. The only thing that worries with me with this game is whether or not OG Anunoby plays. I do not want the Knicks to rush OG Anunoby at all during this week. I want him to be fit and ready to play when he feels like he's ready to play. And that's usually what you're going to see when you have like the pressure of a difficult schedule coming up with the Cavs and the Celtics coming up. But I mean, you shouldn't rush one of your best players to get on the floor immediately when you need him for the playoffs. So that's probably going to be the one thing I'm a little concerned about with this game. But either way, Knicks Bulls, I mean, I'm going to take the Knicks in this one, obviously.
Yeah, and I think I would agree with that, too. Knicks pull away in a convincing win. And, of course, we'll talk about it next week, of course, in our final episode before spring break. But like I said before, I think with this game, take advantage of it. And you mentioned OG Anunoby. It'd be good to rest him a little bit this week. Maybe get him ready for Boston. If he misses Cleveland, that's okay. And I get it. The Cavs are the best team in the league right now. But if you have to rest him, you got to rest him. He got injured and needs that rest for a reason. So
OG Anunoby is a difference maker for the New York Knicks. Flat out simple. So I mean, you want to keep him in the lineup as much as possible, but you also don't want to jeopardize him from not being in the lineup as much as possible. So I think resting him is the best game plan for this upcoming week for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. And I think now when you look at this, when we're getting to this next game now, the best team in the Eastern Conference playing them on a back-to-back, boy, is that going to be interesting for this Knicks team.
Yeah.
And the battle of the point guards is where it's going to be at. You got Jalen Brunson, you got Darius Garland, you got Donovan Mitchell, of course. This is going to be a fun one. And I think Friday night in Cleveland, it's going to be a tough game, but I don't know if they can pull it out or not against the number 1 seed. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried, and the only reason is because coming off that Celtics game, I said that that's probably going to be the deciding factor to me that tells us if we're contenders or not. I said that about the Celtics, and now I'm going to say it again about this Cavs team, and that's probably going to be the last time I say it about this the Knicks team. If we don't get a win here, or at least if we don't make it a competitive game here, I don't know really I don't know how to feel about the Knicks, because as much as I love them and as much as I love seeing them succeed, what good is it to be the 3 seed if you're not competitive with the 2 and 1 on top of you? So it's really all about how the Knicks come out in this game. I'm fine with a loss, but I want it to at least be a competitive loss, like nothing crazy like getting blown out by 30 against the Celtics, which we have been doing previously. So hopefully we can manage one out for this one.
And even if it's a loss, it is what it is. We can't win every single game, especially against the top teams. No, we're doing the best we can here. But I know you said that you were the thing you wanted to say, that you said it's gonna be the last time you're gonna say it.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be the last time you're gonna say it because they have a day off.
I can build hope off it.
I mean, possibly. We gotta see what happens though. But they get the day off on Saturday.
True.
And a Sunday matinee for the 3rd time this season against the Boston Celtics.
How I hate that green and that I hate that logo. But I mean, this is all going to be about how the Knicks really, what's the word I'm looking for? Develop after a loss like the Celtics. This can easily be a second round matchup for the Knicks, with us being 3 and them being 2. And now that we know kind of like what their game plan is against us, how are we going to like figure that out and try to beat them? You know, we know they're going to hunt the 3-point shot. So how are we going to fix that on defense? We know that they're going to be crashing the boards on offense as well. So how are we going to fix that when we're getting back on defense? So I look for little stuff like that to really show that to me, that really shows, you know, if we're developing or not. And if we're not doing that, then we're simply not developing and we're not going to be ready for the playoffs. So as long, like I said with the Cavs, as long as it's a competitive game, I'm fine with either outcome.
Yeah, and like we said before, last time they played them before the All-Star break, Jason Tatum had a 40-plus point performance, and that was why the Knicks couldn't win. And they were able to find ways to slow down Jalen Brunson, and that's what led to the Boston's win. So the Knicks are going to have to figure out how they can slow down Tatum, how they can slow down Drew Holiday, how can they slow down Kristaps Porzingis? Who do they put against him? I mean, Towns is the obvious answer right there for sure.
You're saying how they can slow down it. It sounds easy, but it's really not when you have such a star-studded lineup like the Celtics. So we have a star-studded lineup as well, and that's why we're expected to compete with these guys, but we just haven't been. So I'm just really looking for not just with the star-studded lineup, but the strategic ways we can beat them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one thing that goes with playing against teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. And even for the Cavs, like we said before, they've been one of the big surprises this year in the Eastern Conference, especially where they finished as the 4th seed last year, you know, with that disappointing second-round exit against the Celtics. So they're looking for revenge this year, and the Celtics are obviously looking to win back-to-back titles. Yeah,
and I mean, it's going to make for an amazing race. I mean, this is almost similar in a way you could say it to the Cars scene with Lightning McQueen, and then you got Chick Hicks, and then you got the legend, I forget his name, but the Dynago car. You could easily say that I think Lightning McQueen is probably the Cavs in this situation. Chick Hicks is more like the Knicks, where they always try to win, but they couldn't get there. And then the Boston Celtics being the Dynaco car. I'm sorry I'm forgetting his name. I swear, I'm a huge Cars fan. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name, but it's going to be between those three to me that make it out the West this year.
And the race is on indeed for the road to the NBA playoffs. I know, it seems like they're far away. In April, that's when the playoffs are. We're in the end of February, middle end of February right now. If you think about it, it's going to be here quick. So don't worry. We will be at the playoffs before you even know it, and we'll have all the amazing coverage for that as well. But today's episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, All-Star Weekend's out of the way. The Knicks have 28 games left this year. We just previewed 3 of them, and we'll talk about them next week after they have taken place. We'll have a special guest on next week as the Knicks have a game next week against the Philadelphia 76ers, and we'll get to talk about all of that and more next week. But from here on Empire State Hoops, I'm your host, Adam Rothschild. Alongside me has been my co-host, Marquise Frias, and we will see you next week. Have a great rest of your day.